Hi, everyone, and thank you for popping on to the Hub podcast. This is episode 13, and we have a returning guest. So, Richard, without further ado, would you like to introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, Zoe. My name is Richard Mansfield. I'm the co-founder and marketing director of a creative agency called Dark Cherry Creative.
It's great to have you back, Richard. For those that have been following us a while, probably have seen Richard's face before. He kindly popped onto our webinar on month 9, I believe it was episode 9, and shared with us top 10 things to direct to your homepage and website, as that is Richard's background in Dark Cherry, along with his team, looking after everything creatively in terms of your marketing and also assets as well. So we've kindly asked Richard to pop along to our podcast because we are talking about the big asset in the room, which is websites for this month in the Hub. And we wanted to continue that conversation really because I don't feel you can cover everything in a webinar as you can cover everything in a podcast. Websites are very big assets for companies. You go from your really simple one-page websites all the way to something very technical and in depth, which is something we do not touch, guys. Those that have followed me for a while knows that I'm not a tech person. Very much about consultancy, very much about education and telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And then these guys do the do. To put it in simple terms. So we asked Richard to come back along and just continue that conversation for this month's podcast. So I think probably how we should start it off, Richard, is kind of to extend that conversation from the webinar and just remind people, why is it so important in terms of your opinion to get views and visitors onto your website and get people to that homepage? So why is it important?
Yeah, sure. Something that we hear quite a lot of is your website is your shop front. It's your shop window.
Yeah.
So all the effort that you put in, whether you're speaking with someone or you're on your social media, they kind of need a place to be able to come back to find out more. You can always tease them with a little bit. You might be able to give them a benefit as to what your service is. But if they want that bit more information and you don't have it in that post or a snippet of an opportunity that you've had, you want to bring them back to a central point.
Yeah.
But that central point then needs to be perfect.
Yeah.
They need to be able to come on and get as much information as they want.
Yeah.
And then, the end goal is for them to inquire. It's not for them to have to go away and find out anything more.
Yeah.
Everything should point them to their website, to your website. So.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've talked about this quite regular within our own networking group. Myself and Richard are part of the growth community because I've even had it. And again, I know about websites. I educate them on how important it is and then hand it over to guys like Richard for kind of creation and Claire from Raspberry Flamingo for content SEO. And literally I'd be like, I'm putting all this effort in, guys, but why is no one inquiring? Still, it's in person that they most inquire with me. And I was missing that basic step. Just as simple as Richard has said, the importance of your website is to get them to book that call. It's to get them to book in with you. And I was missing that step. I had the book call button, but it's much more than that. I mean, I read a recent stat because it's also down to speed as well, I believe, that 48% of people, if it doesn't load within 2 seconds, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Richard, but this is a recent stat I found, actually just go off it. And 52% after 3 seconds leave. So what that's telling you is 100% of people would leave if your website didn't load within 3 seconds. Is that stat still right? Or
I would believe that's very accurate, to be honest. I think we can know from our own experience. I think sometimes you can get a little bit bogged down in like how fast is my website and is it important? But all you need to do is actually look at your own usability of a website, the frustrations you feel yourself.
Yeah.
Booking tickets online, for example.
Yeah.
You go online, try and book a ticket, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But you either persevere because you want the ticket or you go away and try and find your ticket elsewhere.
Yeah.
So put that logic into your own website. If it takes someone too long to get to your services and to be able to book an appointment with yourself,
yeah,
would you stay? So
Yeah.
just have a look at your own experience, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think that's one of the top tips we shared on the webinar. So if you haven't watched the webinar, guys, if you literally go onto YouTube, the Hub, episode 9, you will find Richard and Dark Cherry with them top tips. But we were talking about another really quick top tip is for you to ask somebody, what do they think when they get to your website? Ask them to time it. Get somebody that you trust to give you that constructive feedback, because very similar to what Richard said, use them real life examples. Because the ticket situation, I remember, no word of a lie, Richard, trying to get the Medell tickets. I pulled up on a dual carriageway at 9 o'clock. So I had to get to a 9:30 appointment. I was like, I ain't missing that. I ain't not. And I pulled up in a dual carriageway, got out of my car, got over the barrier, so it was safe. On my phones, work phone, personal phone, no word of a lie, guys. I did this just before the Meadowhall junction, and I'm not lying. I actually did it to get my best friend tickets to Adele for her 30th birthday. Put my own life at risk. But I had 2 devices to make sure that happened. Now, I remember when my sister wanted Coldplay tickets, I actually just gave up. I just went, do you know what? I ain't fighting for them tickets. I'll just buy them on pre-sale.
Everything crashes,
Yeah.
everything, and I'm sure, I'm not going to mention any names, but big ticket sellers, websites, they should be built to deal with demand. But you know what? If something as big as, for me, when Huddersfield get to Wembley, everyone in Huddersfield wants a ticket. You've just got to be able to cater for it. And that is the life experience that you've got of thinking, how important is it for my website to load quickly, or just for it to function properly? If someone clicks something, it needs to click through, or it needs to respond. It needs to do something. Because that's the experience that everyone demands.
Definitely. And it's, again, just putting it back to yourself and actually asking yourself, what is it that you want? Again, putting yourself in the customer's shoes. You guys know, if you listen to my podcast for the past 2 years, that's something we talk about a lot. And it is as simple as doing that with your website. So bearing that in mind, Richard, with the top tips that you shared, obviously, for us a couple of months ago, what is your number one tip at the moment to get the website found in terms of that user experience?
Right now, we're speaking to a lot of clients about content. There's just been a recent Google algorithm update, which has actually been named Helpful Content Update.
Yeah.
The clue's in the name. What Google are wanting to do is give a better experience to their users, which have kind of touched on themselves. Google still want to give a good service. When you put in a search term what you're looking for, whether it be a service or a product or a venue or whatever it may be, Google want you to have the best experience.
Yeah.
So they want the user to land on a page that's going to be on topic.
Yeah.
It's going to give them the knowledge and insight that they were looking for.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily bothered about the call to action. They just want the user's experience from Google and what they're delivering to be right. But as a business owner and a web developer, we're advising everyone to get very useful content on your website. If you can do it by means of a video as well, then absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But have a look at landing pages. Have a look at building your website out, adding pages, adding useful information that people want to read. Not something that just gets you in a new area.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that maybe drills down into a service, or maybe gives a further explanation.
Yeah.
But content.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and content is something that I wanted to touch upon, because obviously we mentioned about video, and we're going to obviously talk about the social proof side as well, because we talked about that in the webinar, and I think that's really important and something to continually talk about, because social proof is just, for me, our number one marketing tool. We constantly share what people say about us, because there's no better way we can tell people about the return in our business and what we do for our clients other than our customers. And you mentioned something there about Google saying, obviously, it being helpful. We have a term when we're looking at marketing for our customers, and we say useful. So, for example, myself and Richard were at a recent networking event, and I went round the room and I gave everyone a trolley token. And quite a few people said to me, "Oh, I can use that. I'm going to be brownie points with the missus with that. And literally, guys, the reason I decided to put a trolley token into my marketing is because every time I went to Aldi, I'm an Aldi shopper, I could not find a pound coin for the love nor money. And I had to keep going into Home Bargains to buy myself a trolley token. And I got that frustrated with myself. I thought to myself, why the hell am I not buying one of them for my marketing and giving other people that same solution to the problem that they probably have on a weekly or sometimes a daily, if they do shopping for the parents, etc., basis. And it's about it being useful, and it's about it being branded, and about people remembering what you do when they go shopping. Because the more you can stay at the forefront of their mind, just as Rich has mentioned, being helpful in your marketing and keeping people on that page and giving them something useful and helpful, as Google has obviously mentioned, more the better, the more you're going to get a return from it. Absolutely. So in terms of content, you've mentioned about video. Let's talk about kind of that in terms of everyday terms, and I'm going to mention the platform TikTok. Because we've started having a big pull on TikTok at the moment with the brand Ask Zoe. So at the moment right now, what are you seeing as the best form of content for marketing and like in the spaces that you operate?
We are actually using TikTok ourselves.
Yeah.
We were doing video, but we were doing it in landscape.
Yeah.
It wasn't always the best sort of orientation for TikTok, if you like, as it's generally always vertical.
Yeah.
But we're getting a lot of engagement through TikTok.
Yeah.
It's another positive spin for video. It's something that we heavily invested in over the last 2 years in terms of video. We actually got some professionals in to do client testimonials for us.
Yeah.
But we've also done bits as a team where we're introducing ourselves. So now on our About page on our website, there's a video of each member of staff.
Yeah.
Telling them what we do and how we do it, type of thing, giving a bit more of a personality.
Yeah.
So we're seeing our website's turning into quite the beast for lead generation. We've heavily sort of concentrated on content, useful, helpful, rememberable, downloadable content, so that you're kind of offering a wide range of stuff, whether it be video, downloadable PDF, a how-to guide, quick tips, anything that can sort of give you the opportunity to potentially capture data, but predominantly just to help the person that's visiting your website.
Yeah, definitely. And it's about that content, and it's about it being helpful and useful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the more you can keep them on your platform and the more you they're invested. I mean, I read a stat once that if you can keep somebody in your video, I think for more than 10 seconds, they're already probably moving into the kind of mindset to purchase.
Yeah.
Rather than just kind of viewing it for the sake of viewing it. And that's the reason I like TikTok, is because we're using it and we're having a big presence with it because of the Ask Zoe part of our personal brand. And it is showing us a return already. But the investment side with professional videos, again, I definitely agree with, because sometimes you have to get the message over correctly, especially on websites. Quality is really important. You want it to look on brand as well. So, for example, I mentioned TikTok a lot because we use it a lot on social media. We repurpose that video with Instagram, etc., and take off the kind of the stamp of the TikTok so it can be more effective with our content and time.
Yeah.
But again, we haven't introduced video yet to our website. It is something we're looking to do kind of probably in the next 2 years. But again, I wouldn't use TikTok. I'd use the appropriate, getting it professionally done to the right channels.
That's the thing. A lot of people will say to you, video is important, but it's not just as easy as going and sort of shooting a video. It is in a sense. I don't want to take away how important video is and how easy and accessible it can be. But like you said, you've got to sort of take on board what platform you're going to be, consider where you're going to be posting it.
Yeah.
Make sure it's the right length. So like the reels are shorter, your stories can be stretched, but you've just got to consider the content that you're putting out. If it's going on social media, short, sharp, to the point, helpful. On the website, you can get a bit more knowledge and a bit more content in.
Yeah. So. And are you seeing a spike in the moment with any particular social media platform to direct people more to websites? Are you seeing a spike in that, or have they all got their own individual uses?
they've got their individual uses. What we find in LinkedIn, we're putting tips out. We've not done it for a while, I'll have to admit, but the the algorithms are being kind to us and showing our older videos because they got the engagement in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm still receiving messages from people that are seeing older videos where they're saying, "Oh, so thank you for that." And I'm like, which video did you see, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
Whereas with TikTok, it's very much you put something on and it's instant.
Yeah.
Because it's a new video, it's new to your followers. Their sort of engagement level is not maybe as strong.
Yeah.
But they'll watch it and get in touch. Whereas the LinkedIn is probably a bit of a longer process. So
yeah.
It's a bit like a compound effect. If you put a YouTube video out and within a week you're thinking, oh, God, my views are not up.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at the other videos that you did previously,
Yeah.
because there's a very good chance that they've gone through and found the video that's more suitable for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just take into consideration. I can't say this platform is doing the best for us because they're all very different for us.
Yeah, we're the same, and I also do agree with that instant on TikTok is it can look like it's not got much reach to begin with, and then you can go back and it's still getting reach. And like these things on TikTok now with sounds and sketches and duets, there's loads of like instant kind of things that you can do to obviously boost that as well.
Yes.
And yeah, definitely I agree with that. It depends on kind of what you want the desired outcome to be per platform, but always, guys, don't forget to direct people to the end destination. It's something that I see missed a lot in terms of TikTok videos, Instagram videos. They're not telling them what to do. And I'll give you a prime example. I had somebody who I follow, big influencer. It was her birthday coming up, a big birthday. She was giving away X amount of prizes for that, and she told people to vote on the poll, and there was no poll. And then she did it again, and there was no poll. Again. So I messaged her and I was like, you're cross-sharing it onto the platform. You're not putting the poll on the right platform.
Yeah.
You need to be doing two separate videos, not cross-sharing it, because you're cross-sharing it, you can't vote. You've got to go to the original post to vote to get your poll. Luckily, she had as much of a following on that original video, so she did get the data that she needed, but there were frustrations still created. So it's about really making sure that you've got the links as well and you're directing them to the right destination, because it can, again, impact the user experience as well. So it's just something to be mindful for.
Yeah, if you can point people, so just on that point, in terms of when you're planning out your social media content in your videos, do think about that call to action, because if you can actually direct them to a page that's specific about what you're talking about, it's going to have a far better impact than if you send them to your homepage to then try and find the topic that you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you can send them directly to that page that you are sort of explaining, if you like, the topic of conversation that you're having on your video, if you can send them to a dedicated page on your website, it's going to be far more beneficial.
Yeah, and I agree with that. It's something Claire spoke about when she looked at my content copy. In terms of, so I was linking in terms of the main page, and actually what I should have been doing is linking into that exact page that I wanted them to go to. So again, we're all learning. We can be thinking we're doing right, but it's always good, like we say, go back to the experts, go back to someone you trust, and just actually make sure that it gets that call to action and the desired outcome that you're looking for, because websites are a big investment. They're a good asset, but they've got to have the return. And that's definitely kind of what kind of came across in the webinar with the 10 top tips. And I think definitely has come across as we've extended kind of that conversation here this morning. So I just kind of want to leave it on one last thing. And really for Richard to take the floor is, what is the one thing that people can do today, they was listening to this in their website, to get more views and make it perform better?
I'd put it under review. I would, it's quite easy to just keep building and building and building on your website, putting new content out there, which I've just said is very important. It is, but you can't just kind of put it on and leave it. You need to be analyzing it. You need to be, and if it's not something that you can do yourself, as you just mentioned, speak to a professional, speak to us. We're more than happily, we, on the end of the top 10 tips, I offered a free website audit.
Yeah.
If that's something that people would be still interested in, I'm more than happy to do so. It just gives you a good insight into where your website's at and how it's performing, because
Yeah.
what you see in your experience might not actually be the actual truth, if you like. So a website health check, a good overall look and understanding of your website is vital.
Yeah, 100%. And I do appreciate you extending that offer to our listeners. So if they wanted to take you up on that, Richard, how would they get in contact with you?
The easiest way to do so is to go on our website, darkcherrycreative.co.uk, and go through the contact page and find us there.
Amazing. So thank you for your time this morning. You might notice, guys, we're all a little bit husky. It's definitely coming into the autumn. The colds are coming back, and now the world's opened up. So thank you, Richard, for coming on. We really appreciate it. Do check out Dark Cherry, guys. Do go and have a look at their website. Go and have a look at that video content. Take Richard up on that kind offer on that review for your website. And yeah, let's just get that return back into our business that much more. Next month, we're going to be talking about social media. So we'll keep you posted on that. And again, search us on Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, through the hub to get all our previous episodes as well. And thanks again, Richard, for coming along today. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having us again, Zoe.
Thanks.